Welcome to my video about college survival skills. My name is Nikki Billingsley. I'm a college instructor at Los Angeles Southwest College, among other places. So, the first hint and bit of advice I'd give you is to network and get contacts. I tell my students to always get the contact information of at least 3 other people in your class each semester. If you do not form study groups, you might need to contact someone to catch up on work you missed because of an absence or late arrival or early departure. I know that there were times when I was in school that having someone else's contact information, getting to know other people in class, saved me having to buy a textbook. So network and contacts are a must as a college student. Prompt arrival. Approach class like you would your professional life, because this will lead to a profession or a career, actually. Respect each other's desire to learn. Try to avoid being a distraction to the learning experience for other students. And sometimes your professors do take your late arrivals a little personally, so try not to do it. Managing your time and studying. You do make a commitment when you enroll in the class, so just make sure that you do everything you possibly can to stick with it and succeed. It's imperative, especially when you're juggling work, family, and school, to set aside time to study, because time does not present itself to you. Most instructors do teach, I know, as if their class is the only class you're taking. But, if you are mindful of managing your time, just make sure that you give the course what the time it needs to be sure that you can complete your assignments, of course, and successfully complete the class. I think that for a 3-unit or 3-hour class, you're kind of expected to spend at least 6 hours out of class on that. So if you divvy up that time suggestion over a week, that's an hour a day maybe, or 45 minutes a day. But again, if you calculate that in your mind, then maybe that will help you to better manage your time. Ask questions. It's so important to ask questions. I know nobody likes to look foolish in class, but I always ask, would you rather look foolish or would you rather, remain confused? And so I always encourage my students to ask questions, because the classroom is a learning environment. You're supposed to make mistakes in class so that you don't make mistakes out in the world. So, just feel free to be goofy or silly or just, look stupid. It's not a big deal in the classroom, and the student who asks questions is really doing the whole class a favor, because usually someone else has the same question but just isn't brave enough to ask. And excuse my background noise. I think that communicating with your instructor is essential to growth, essential to learning all of the skills that you need as a student to be able to transition into the real world. And so I say that your ability to communicate with your instructor is vital, not only to your grade, but again to your growth. You should never take a class and not talk to the instructor during his or her office hours. Some students drop a class when they feel overwhelmed, or if they don't like an instructor, when it could be avoided by just communicating. I know, because I've asked students who have done really well in my class and then all of a sudden disappear. It's so, like for me, disheartening, because I'm like, oh my God, the student took time out to enroll in a class, took time out to appear for, a few weeks, and then, and completed assignments. So for me, as an instructor, I just would say that communicating your challenges or just anything that's going on, if you want to finish the class, if you want to pass the class that you paid for, that you enrolled in, just give your instructor a chance. And I have to say that as a student, every semester, I always took time out to see my instructors outside, during their business office hours. Every instructor except one class, because it was like an easy class to me, so I didn't really feel the need. But really though, in my college experience, I took time out every semester to meet with every instructor at least once, and those meetings are like, maybe 10 minutes or less. It's just introduction, just to say, hey, see me, know who I am, and that I'm invested and interested in passing the class. So talk to your teachers. So every campus has student services. Student services are what you pay for when you enroll and register for classes, right? And so here, when you pay your tuition, you pay for access to everything that the campus has to offer. So, take advantage of the services like the library instead of ordering books off of Amazon. Use the learning center, for people to look at your essays and give you feedback so that you can get an A. If you're struggling, get free tutoring that's offered on every campus. Use, of course, those computer labs and the computers that have all of the latest and updated software on them. Talk to your counselors so that you can make sure that you're taking the right classes, so that you can make sure that you're getting what you need to achieve your professional and academic goals. And most schools, at least schools that I've been to, have health services, and most importantly mental health services, to help you navigate this part of your life, to help navigate the stress and anxiety that you sometimes feel as students and juggling everything. So some of the services offered can also help if you get discouraged and want to drop out of school. I mean, like I've recently done a professional development where I learned that some schools, some campuses are even building housing for students who are, housing, their housing is unstable. I've had students who have had domestic violence issues or been kicked out of the house by their parents and are homeless. So, I think some schools are becoming aware of that's also a need, and not everyone can afford housing. Not all, like I teach at community colleges, and so of course historically community colleges don't offer housing, but again, some of them are starting to offer housing, but no one will know that you need that unless you speak up. So if that's something that you need, anything that you need that's going to help you to finish school and achieve your goals, you have to let that be known, your needs. And I promise you, there's someone on the campus, there's some resource available that will help you to be, that will connect you with that service. And then taking responsibility for your actions is really important. I have so many stories, I think good stories that I've learned from as a person, and stories that I've seen students, eventually get the lesson of just being responsible for your actions. And at the bottom of the screen is emotional intelligence, and that's something that you want to invest in learning more about, becoming emotionally intelligent. because it's easy to blame others for the difficulties that we experience in our lives, but try to make it a habit to examine, the role that you play and what you contribute to a situation. Your thoughts and your behavior become real if you say to yourself, this is going to be hard, this being school, this being a class, this being life. It will be difficult, but if you tell yourself that this is a challenge that you are going to give your best, then your best is going to follow. Your mind tells your body and your environment like what's going to happen. So start telling yourself the story, the narrative that you want to hear, and make it happen. Keep your goals within focus. I do have links to a video about goals, and since I'm going to be posting this on YouTube and other social media, there'll probably be other links. If you're on my website, you'll see other articles posted about achieving your goals and how specifically to take steps to achieve your goals. So no matter what happens in your life, because life does continue to happen, just don't give up. That's what my message is right here, right now. And let no one take you off your course, because you have the desire to do this for a reason. And eliminate negative thoughts, negative people, and any other negative influences from your sphere in order to reach your goals. And I have just a bit of advice for older students. Be proud of yourself for having the courage and consciousness to educate yourselves. For older students, take your time. Just because you started later does not mean you have to make up for lost time or rush to catch up. Whether you have an instructor half your age or twice your age, there's something to be learned from everyone. Let your wisdom guide you. Try to find ways of incorporating the wealth of knowledge and experience you've acquired over the years into your academic pursuits. This way, others may benefit from your wisdom. And rebuke shame. I've had older students. I started teaching community college when I was 28, and I had several students that were older than me, and I had a couple of students who actually they admitted that they were ashamed to, come back to school at such an advanced age, and ashamed to have a teacher younger than them teaching them. But rebuke shame. Shame has no place in you trying to achieve your goals. Look at your coming back to school as returning to your youth, but better. And have fun. Meet the challenges head on, and love to grow. I like going back to school. When I'm a student, when I'm sitting in a classroom, even now, it's fun for me, because then all the weight of having to know everything is off of my shoulders, and I get to ask the questions and not know everything. Okay. Students, I suggest that you study abroad, or at least in another state, for at least a year. Know that the contacts you make can be vital to your professional success. Get as much free money as you can via scholarships, grants. Get as much experience as you can through internships, volunteering in your social organizations. Try not to get burdened with debt, like new cars or credit cards, designer clothes, or loans. Be free, completely free, as long as you can, because once that debt accrues, you have to focus on paying it. Travel as much as you can, not just to party, but to see the world you live in. And if you have no children or spouses, make school your absolute major primary priority. Older students will tell you that once you turn your focus on other things, that it's virtually impossible to get it back to school. School becomes really a challenge. If you do make it back, it's never enough time to study and fully focus on school the way you might have when you were younger. So keep that in mind. Control your online presence. Keep an email address that's easy to remember and reflects you positively. Don't post pictures of you in immoral or unethical situations. We have way too many examples of how that could go wrong. As much as you may want to, watch the words you want to you use carefully in your updates, in your tweets. Again, that's something that we've seen in media that's come back to haunt even some of, more prominent celebrities and personalities. You know that when you use your email to join certain groups, you can be traced back, through searches, simple Google searches or what have you. So just also watch what your email is associated with, okay? So set goals and identify your purpose. Okay, that's really important. Just thinking about what your values are, what your priorities are. Discover your passions if you haven't already. Identify your interests, your talents, your contributions that you can make to even if it's just to your family. And start thinking about your legacy, how you want to define yourself, and put it all together. Okay. And some questions you can ask to get started with just trying to find that part of yourself. Think about, what am I good at? What do people seek help from me for? What tasks come easily to you? What do you receive compliments on? What do others depend on you for? And where do you make your strongest contributions? And so, just to give you a little anecdote, I was always reading. Then I started writing. And so my friends came to me for that, to write letters for them or write stories for them, and got involved with the school paper and editing the yearbook. And so writing just became a part of my, my everyday, activities. And that's what I was known for. I don't think that was my identity, but I certainly enjoyed the act of the process of writing and creating. Your goals and identify your purpose. That's always good. And there's just a little image here to get you started with that. Committing, stating your why. Know why you're doing whatever it is you're doing. Try to set deadlines for yourself, because you can have all the goals in the world, but if you're not setting deadlines for yourself, then you're just kind of on this eternal kind of little escalator, just going on a ride. And set rewards for yourself, like what you're going to do once you accomplish such and such, and break it down in small steps, okay? And plan ahead. Just try to plan ahead. But that's kind of what setting goals is. It's, planning ahead to accomplish something, okay? Part of the process of setting goals, we call them SMART goals. So just make sure they're specific, measurable in terms of setting deadlines, achievable, and that's done by breaking the goal down into smaller steps. Being realistic once you assess what's going on in your life, and being timely. And so it just, being realistic, it just kind of made me think about life changes. There are ebbs and flows, and so you might set a goal for yourself at some point and things might change in your life. So don't be discouraged when things come up. Try to adapt. Try to be able to go with the ebb and flow, and but keep your eye and your focus right on what it is you're trying to accomplish. Let me know if there are other college survival skills that I might have left out, or let me know your opinions about the ones that I have mentioned. I've been giving these to students for years. I've updated them, but You might have something that I have left out, and let us know, because this is going to be part of an assignment. I want other students to know and to be able to survive college and come out victoriously. Take care.